Right now to the latest from Democratic lawmakers meeting in Washington in the 2024 presidential race. Let's bring in Jonathan Martin, Politico politics bureau chief and senior political columnist. Jonathan, do you have a preference? Do you like the term hot mess, or do you like dumpster fire? Can you combine those two? If you got a quick term for how you describe what the Democrats are facing right now?
I'm not sure what the NASDAQ shorthand is, but it starts with S and ends with show. I probably can't say
storm.
It on the air.
Yeah. I know what
exactly.
the S part is, but I mean, it's show or storm. It's just, it makes me uncomfortable even watching it. And then we were going to show pictures of Steny Hoyer, 85. So is Steny and Nancy, talking to one another about someone being too old and whether they're going to oust this guy when they're.
But here's the thing about that. I think you've actually put your finger on it, if unintentionally. Part of the challenge Democrats have had with Biden, especially in the House, is they look at Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi, who say what you will about them, and Joe, but they've actually aged into the 80s, their 80s, and still govern pretty darn effectively, regardless of your view of their politics. And I actually think I've talked to a House Democrat who told me just that. We thought Biden was going to be okay because we looked at Pelosi and Hoyer, and they were fine into their early 80s.
Right.
And I
Grassley,
think that actually did shape this.
Yeah, Grassley. There are Warren Buffett. There are others. The classic Charlie Munger line when he was 99. He passed since then, but when he was 99. He said, "I'm not nearly as sharp as I was when I was 96."
Exactly.
I mean, it's just such a great line. But
exactly.
So then we're back to blaming the people that kept him out of the public eye for the past 6 months. I thought it was pretty obvious anyway, but you think that some Democrats can say we had no idea it had gotten to this point. They kept him. Well, what? You think they can say that?
I do, and here's why. If you're a congressional Democrat or a Democratic governor, your exposure to Biden, for the most part, is ceremonial events, bill signings, a reception, a grip and grin photo line. You're not sitting down with him and actually talking shop extensively for a half an hour or an hour. There's a very small number of actual elected Democrats who have that kind of exposure on a regular basis. So, yeah, I think a lot of these folks who just came down to the White House for, the holiday party or when their bill got signed for a handshake and a photograph, thought he had aged but was still okay. And I think that, there was a denialism because, frankly, they've been much more focused on Trump and stopping Trump, and they didn't want to upset the apple cart, and they thought that Biden was good to go for one more turn out there. But let's not pretend like these Democrats were totally in the dark. They know he's going to turn 82 this fall, and they know that he's going to be closer to 90 than 80 when the second term was going to be done. There's other issues at play here, namely that they didn't want to countenance the idea of a messy Democratic primary this year. It was just easier, Joe, to salute and say, I'm for the incumbent, I'm for Biden.
Yeah, and he's got that working on his side. He won it fair and square with the primary voters. And then there's the other thing, Jonathan, that in the background, and maybe Kamala could be a good Vice President Harris. Maybe she could be a good candidate and satisfy certain things that the Democratic base is definitely looking for. She's been a spokesperson on abortion and other rights. Maybe she could take the mantle, but. Initially, there was some thought that, wow, that might not have been the best pick a couple of years ago. It's coming back to haunt them a little bit.
This is still the debate among Democratic lawmakers this hour as we speak. Which is our better option, not to win the presidency, which is our better option to salvage as many down ballot seats as we can? A wounded Joe Biden or a healthier Kamala Harris politically on top of the ticket? That is literally the debate that's still going on. I think part of the reason why there's some hesitation among Democrats to forcefully call for Biden's ouster is because they're not sure that even a politically healthy Kamala Harris would be better to save, for example, the Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan Senate seats. That's still very much up for debate. Yeah.
Melissa, actually, This is rare. This is rare. Because you don't like political interviews. You like.
But don't ask him about to them. But
don't ask him about NVIDIA, please.
I'm not going to ask him about NVIDIA. I might ask him about Apple. No, just kidding, Jonathan. But
I wish I bought NVIDIA in calendar year 2022.
Yeah, join the club. But in terms of the S show,
exactly.
I mean, isn't part of this though the feeling of betrayal? That Biden was shielded, and it makes this whole thing worse than if the concerns had been brought up prior because you had seen him in public, you had seen him making public appearances, et cetera. But there's this feeling that the debate was a bombshell, which is kind of crazy to think about considering he's the president of the United States, and yet we didn't have enough appearances to gauge his mental, state.
There is a boiling anger at Biden and, frankly, his family and inner circle. I've heard it from Democratic lawmakers every day since this debate that, I can't believe that they put him out there knowing what his condition was. You hear that all the time. And, guys, the sort of current trendy comparison in Washington is that this moment's kind of like 2016 with the Republicans with Access Hollywood, in which a lot of the elected officials just didn't know what to do, and some of them wanted to dump the nominee, and there was this paralytic moment in the party. Here's the difference, though. Democrats right now, they like Joe Biden. A lot of them have a fondness and affection for Biden that the GOP didn't have for Trump in 2016, which also makes it harder to dump him because they do like him. They've known him for a bit. He's been around, obviously, for a long time, and that makes it tougher. And also, it makes that betrayal that you mentioned so much more personal and so much more biting.
What should we watch to know what's going on, Jonathan? I'm watching the Predictit, the RCP betting sites, and they're saying that the president can do whatever he wants. If he wants to stay, he can stay, and that's what the betting sites are saying. I don't know if that changes. It could change on a dime.
I think this week is the last exit. Look, next week is the GOP convention. Trump's picking his VP. I think this is the pivotal week, and I think tomorrow is a crucial day. Why? Because Biden is giving a kind of wrap-up NATO press conference. I think everybody on the Hill is going to be watching that press conference. Can he clear the bar? And if he can, I think they'll just move on, make the best of it, and I think this story will fade. Joe, I think if Biden doesn't have a good press conference, I think you'll see more lawmakers call for him to step down, including senators who've been on the fence. You know what they say, if you wound someone and you don't kill them, I don't know if I'd really want to be a person that went against the president if he's going to be the nominee. I don't know. That's precisely the issue. 4 years, man. Joe, they don't want to have a statement on the record calling for Biden to step down and then have to eat that statement this fall if Biden stays in the race.